And so, now that's this week. So this week he was given his reward, right? He's given his reward for doing this. And, I guess in some of the commentators I listened to this week, they were saying that when you're waiting between these two different parashot, you're wondering, like, is he going to be rewarded for what he did, or was it the right thing to do, kind of thing? I mean, we knew it was the right thing to do, but would he be rewarded for it? How it's going to happen, right? If you didn't know the rest of the story already, like we do, but you have this week long to think about it, right? But anyway, so if you ever think, if you're a timid person, I think this is kind of message more for me. But if you're like a timid person and you have these questions like, who am I to speak out against such and such wrong thing that's happening? Or, surely there's other people that are more qualified and know more about this, and who have more authority. Maybe they can do that. Or maybe you also might think, like, what difference would it make if I say it? I'm just one person, type of thing. And and also, maybe it'll be done by someone else. You're putting it off or whatever. But in this week's Torah portion, right, we see that Pinchas was rewarded for speaking out, so for taking action, not for speaking out. That would be for us to do, right? But for taking action, he was rewarded, right? He had this moral courage, right? But I like there's different sages, different opinions about Pinchas, and one of them was that the reason why he was told that he was Aharon's grandson, there's the one that says so that he wasn't known as Jethro's grandson, but he was known as Aharon's grandson. But I think some sages believe that it said that he was Aharon's grandson because he was a lot like Aharon. He was more of like a peacemaker, right? Someone that tries to get people to get along and didn't like to stir up trouble and stuff. So he was very much like his grandfather, at least to some of these sages. And so doing this act of killing Zimri and Cosby was very outside of his normal, his natural way, his natural inclination, right? In a sense, he would rather try to calm things down, make things normal, or kind of smooth things over, right? That's what it seems like what Aaron liked to do. He liked to kind of smooth things over. And I think I kind of agree with them, because why would they give an example of someone that was already like that? It's kind of for me anyways, this is good for me. Maybe it's for you, it's the other way, but I feel like, okay, like maybe, like, since I am more the kind of the peaceful type of guy that doesn't like to stir up trouble, I could learn from Pinchas, who was also like me. I feel like he was like me, and so then when there's a situation that is very in your face wrong, morally wrong according to the Torah, all the things that you've studied, then maybe you should stand up and say something, do something about it, right? And so I thought that was interesting that there's that view of him as being like Aharon. And then also we have another example of moral courage, right? In this parsha, we have another example of moral courage in the daughters of Zelophehad. You know what I'm talking about. The 5 sisters, right? And it's kind of another midrash, or I guess more of a not translation, interpretation of the reason why it traces their lineage all the way back to Yosef, is because just like Yosef loved the land of Israel, so did the daughters of Zelophehad. So because Yosef said before, when he died, he asked, "Can you please take my bones back to the land of Israel?" Right? He loved the land of Israel. And so that connection that the sages made between Zelophehad all the way back to Yosef, and saying like they are like him, or they also love the land of Israel. And so in that regard, it's more of a noble choice, or a noble, I don't know what you call it, they're trying to do what's right because they want their father's name to be still part of the land of Israel. They want to be part of the land of Israel, and they want to have that land continue to go, right? And so they weren't it's not like they were being selfish in a way. They were being like, they wanted to make sure that the land is still part of their family. You know what I mean? Because they love the land so much. And so in a sense, it's like it was more of a moral thing. And because they stood up, they stood up and asked the question, what's going to happen to this land? They, Moshe went and asked Hashem, and Hashem answered them, right? So they showed their moral courage by standing up, even though, at that time it'd probably be even more than today. At that time, I don't know how often women would stand up for that kind of thing, but they thought that was wrong, and because they did that, right, all the future generations, if that situation ever happened in the future, the daughter would get some land. You know what I mean? So it's very it affected not just them, but like all future generations. So my takeaway for you all is so what can we learn from these examples, right? What can we learn from these examples, and how can we cultivate this moral courage in our own life, especially those of us who are timid? If it's already natural to you, keep going. But if it's not natural to you, you may need to cultivate it, right? And maybe if it is natural to you, you may need to calm it down a little bit. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Who knows? I don't know. There are some situations where it can need to be calmed down, but that's a different talk. So so if this is like you, first if you have to think about your motivation, right? So say you see something wrong, it's going wrong. What's your motivation? Is your motivation to do what's right, to make what's wrong right? Or are you trying to, or your motivation to make maybe have a selfish motivation to fix it? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I fix this, if I, fix this thing, then I might get something back from it or something like that. But if your motivations are pure and wanting to do the good, to be good and do good, then that's the first step, right? The second thing that you need to know before you start standing up and doing what isn't right is you have to really be knowledgeable in the Torah law, right? You have to really be knowledgeable in Torah, because what is right in your own eyes might not always be right. It has to be right according to Torah, right? We see it all the time in our world now. Everyone thinks they're right, every side thinks they're right, and they think that they're doing the best thing and the good thing, and it's better for humanity or whatever it is, right? But obviously not everybody can be right. If they're not according to Torah, then they're not right. Okay? So we have to know Torah so that we know what is right and what is wrong. And finally, we have to believe that what we say, what we're going to do, is going to actually make a change. If you don't believe that what you're going to say and do, if you don't have any conviction about it, then it might not have any change. You have to be convicted that what I'm going to say or what I'm going to do to fix this wrong situation, or to share some right knowledge or whatever it is, it's going to make a change. So you have to believe that, and you have to have faith in Hashem that the truth or the goodness is going to win, and you're going to and by you participating, it's going to help. So you have to believe that even you can make a difference, essentially. So those are the three things that we need to know to like strengthen our moral courage. So my challenge is for everyone here is to learn your Torah really, really well, so that what you think is right is actually right, because it would be according to Torah, and so that you can nurture your own moral courage. And when you do see that something is wrong, like someone is treated wrong, or orphan is treated wrong, a widow is being treated wrong, things that to your core, and that the Torah says this is wrong, to stand up for those things, and not only that, but to know, like, if you don't stand up for them, who else will stand up for them? So don't try to rely on other people to do it if you can actually do it. Okay. So that's my message to myself mostly, but it's also to all you too. So Shabbat Shalom.